We'll open the Tourism and Tax Committee meeting. First item of business, approve the minutes of the April 19th, 2021. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
Second
Vincent,
that motion, John Stroud.
second by Supervisor Stroud. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, really the purpose of this meeting was to go over some Oxy tax applications for review, and I found out this financials that we have from the tourism office this morning. We really aren't in a position today to go over these applications and to make a decision today, I believe. There's only one application. It's due on June 4th. That's for the towing. So what I'd like to do is I will let you know the applications we have in, just so you know. We had $285,000 in the award fund. We had a request from Improv Records, and they wanted $37,500. They filed an application. We have $12,500 from the North Creek Business Alliance that we owe on the bus shuttle. That's the last payment on that. The Warrensburg Bike Rally put in for $40,700. I'm not sure if they're going to have their event this year. That was supposed to be in June. Alfredo Gregory Toon Society Club put in for a charity car show. They wanted to, well, I don't know. They left the request of money blank. I can't pronounce this guy's last name. Tim, he has a couple events in. Actually, he wants $1,000. And then he wanted a new event, Lake George Barbecue Festival, and he wanted $10,000. Then the Empire State Towing and Recovery Association put one in for $7,500 for a truck and equipment show. Town of Johnsburg just put one in for $15,000. They wanted it for 5 years for promotion and website advancement in town of Johnsburg. And then Mayor Blaze put one in for $25,000 for fireworks, the weekly fireworks display in the village of Lake George. Other than the one that's for June 4th, we're not being pressed. And what we're trying to do is complete the scoring tab that we are working on. And with our new hire, Kristen Hannaford came on. I know you approved her salary today. She's on as the Tourism Development Coordinator. She's going to work on a lot of the COVID items to help out and take some of the burden off of Ryan. I would ask that we come back in a couple weeks and have a workshop session to spend a few minutes to try to score these events with a new scoring sheet. By that time, we will have a new scoring sheet. Also, at the workshop, I'll send you out a little itinerary for other things. And right now, we do not have fund balance even to pay the towns the 25% that is due them in June. So that's a little disconcerting. I know I sent out a lot of documents, or I asked to send out a lot of documents last night with the town reports, and then I believe we send out documents with municipal payments. I know there's concerns from some supervisors about the balances on their reports and how they spend the money. So I think this would be better if we adjourned for a couple of weeks and then came back and with a different scoring, a new scoring sheet, and then take each one of these like we used to do in the past. Supervisor Hogan, you had your hands raised.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I completely support adjourning these decisions to a later date.
Yeah.
Have we received copies of any of these occupancy tax asks?
I don't know. We have. I thought she sent them out.
Did we get them?
All new applications through the rest today have been sent.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And how about the scoring sheet? Do we have a draft of that?
No, not yet.
When are we going to get a draft of that?
Well, in 2 weeks, I guess. We'll try to get it out
So-
before we come back in 2 weeks.
So, okay, so we will get it ahead of the committee meeting.
Yeah, there's some other items I want to send out information I just got this morning that I want to send out to committee members.
And we'll have an opportunity to weigh in on that scoring sheet
Yeah,
and
yeah.
offer our feedback.
Sure, we'll take comments. Supervisor Bramer, you had your hand up?
Thank you very much. I did see the applications regarding Lake George and Johnsburg, but I thought you were mentioning others that I haven't seen yet, so I would ask that those get sent to us as well as the draft scoring card so we can take a look at it before the meeting.
I think they came either end of last year or early this year or not, Improv Records?
That is a recurring event,
Okay,
and what I forwarded to the committee so far was just the new events that we're going to discuss today.
okay. So the Improv Records is, okay, that's why they didn't go out. And the bike rally is a recurring one.
Can we please get copies of all of them?
You- Yes, yeah, we'll get them out to you. Supervisor Wild?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just on the scoring sheet, if you'd like a little input from me now, I'd like 2 things in there if we can, some kind of value for future outlook in terms of what this might be to the future. And secondly, a calendar. And have an idea of where these events fit on the calendar so we don't have the same issue like we have this year with the Balloon Festival and the bike show. Thank you.
I can tell you, just one moment. I can tell you one thing that we are noting, whether it's a for-profit or a not-for-profit event, because I think that does have to weigh in on our money. We don't have a lot of special event money. $285,000 doesn't go a long way. Some of the bigger events like the Balloon Festival, the garage sale, they haven't come in yet with applications. So you've got to be very, very careful. And I know some of the towns are worried about events, and that's why I sent out their balances left over or to start the year. I was hoping that, some of them would try to fund some of these events at their own communities without sending them on, because as you all got the list of the balances, most of the communities didn't spend a lot of money last year. But, I was concerned this morning when I heard that we didn't have enough money to pay the 25% that is due the towns in June. So, which equates to about $826,000, a little over $826,000. So that is disconcerting. I would hope if you think 2 weeks is enough, we can wait 3 weeks. But I do think we need to, the one pressing one is really the tow truck show in June, and perhaps I could convince the village to fund that one, and we could always reimburse the village at a later date. So, super.
Make one correction.
You need to talk into that because they won't be able to hear you.
So correction, we do have enough money to make the June payment,
Oh, we do.
but we don't have enough money to make the $30,000 payments that go out October 15th
Okay.
to all the towns.
Okay. Supervisor Hogan.
Lisa, while you're at the podium, what's the June payment?
The June payments are the balance of the 25% that was collected in 2020.
Thank you.
And I haven't gotten a breakdown yet from the treasurer's office of what those are.
Thank you. Chairman,
Yes.
can I interpret from your remarks that we haven't yet seen an application from the Balloon Festival, that we are in fact reserving funds?
No, you
for
can't.
events?
You can't imply that, but we do have our major events that we fund every year at a certain level.
So that is that's a foregone conclusion that we fund these events at that level.
We have in the past.
Do we have that in writing somewhere, a commitment to fund
You're
these?
asking the wrong guy. I just took over this year. I can't answer that question. Don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Supervisor McGowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh,
This 25,
actually, Supervisor Sieber was ahead of you. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's not just you, it's been my theme all day. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
be
Go ahead.
sure, no, this 25 and this 30 25% or whatever, is this the supplemental or is just the average payment that we give out all the time?
The 25% is paid by law, the law that was adopted in 2005, I believe.
Great.
And the 30,000 is also part of the law. But they get paid at different times.
All right, so this has nothing to do with the supplemental.
There's nothing, you
The
lost me.
supplemental money that,
The the quote unquote spending plan that we didn't budget for this year?
right.
No, there's no money for the spending plan yet. And that's another thing we need to discuss in the future.
But this is the average, the regular payments that go out that we have in the percentages that go out to the towns that we, and that didn't, I guess my question was, we had some leftover money, so I thought we called this the supplemental tax money that went out. And I know that we pulled that back out of the budget because, we were warned 2 years ago that we had to tighten things up and we seem to be close. Is this?
Since 2016, I believe, don't quote me, there have been 3 payments made to the towns. The first payment is paid in June, is the supplemental pay, is part of the 25% of all the monies collected by community. And that's figured by the treasurer's office. If you have rooms in your community, you get different varying amounts of money. The $30,000, which is paid to every community, is always paid in June, I've been told. No?
October.
October?
October.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, it says October. I'm sorry. That's always been paid in October. And then there was a spending plan that was put in place in 2015 that was originally 15,000 to majority of the town, 60,000 to Bolton, 75 to the village, 75,000 to the town, 60,000 to Queensbury, and everybody else. That equaled to 405,000. That was paid in 2018 and 2017.
That's the one we
And that one
held back.
was there, that one there, we held back because we didn't have the funds to make that pay. There's
Okay.
been a request that we reestablish that. And apparently in December, somebody made a motion to reestablish it at 75%, but it wasn't ever taken to the board, so that hasn't gone forward. And I've got to get my arms around these finances to figure out where we are, because I really am just getting into it. I get confused every time I look at the spreadsheet. I think I'm getting better at it. I will say one thing, we did the towns, we do have the reports from the towns and the city, and most of them didn't spend a lot of money in 2020. So they would start 2021 with that money in their coffers. But I've been told that certain communities have a different spending, the way they do the spending. And that's home rule. We don't get involved in that, how they spend the money, but we do have a spending plan in place, and we do have the rules for spending. And if anybody needs those, we can email them out to you also. And it may be something, but that's part of the law. It's part of the law. So, I'm caught behind the 8 ball. We want to get this moving. I've told communities, don't cancel an event. I mean, we'll get it out to you, but then, and Mike's not here to give us the final number on Oxy tax. Supervisor Molino, and then I'll get Supervisor Seaver.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. You're doing a hell of a job. It's not an easy job when you get dumped into it. But a couple of things I just wanted to bring up. Some of these events happen at the festival space, and being chairman of operations and management and working with the mayor, if we don't get some of these people at least some of their money, they won't book the week or the 2 days or the 1 day. And right now, this is when people are looking to get in there. And if we book it before we give these people some money, somebody else might get it, and you're going to be in trouble a little bit. But I believe what you said, we should have a workshop, but there's a lot more to some of these, like the Improv. They hold, I think, 6 concerts there, I mean, they're a big operation, and they bring in a lot of people. If you don't save those dates for them and we give it away to somebody else, or the mayor does, we could have a problem. But we should work on this and hopefully do it in 2 weeks, not 3.
I'm hoping we do, everybody has these applications, they can look at them, and we can do it in 2 weeks. Supervisor Seaver, I don't mean to, go ahead. Knock yourself out.
Thanks, Chairman. Supervisor Merlino has a very good point. During one of our last meetings, I think we were sitting next to each other and both surprised to hear we had applications that we hadn't looked at that initially weren't going to be looked at till May 15th. So I appreciate the change and the direction of Chairman Garrity on this, that we would do a rolling application where the committee would see applications as they come in. But I do think they need to be complete applications. So if when they're sent out, Chairman Garrity, is it possible to please have a spreadsheet, just a column that lets us know what information is missing, so we don't hold up those applications, but that we are making the request for the complete application? We ask for supporting documentation that historically we have not been getting in many of our application that process, which I think is required for us to make informed decisions as we look at a new scoring sheet. But I also want to state that Schedule A on how we can spend that money is not part of the law. It is an administrative guidance document. And I've asked Chairman Garrity to please take a look at that this year, to start to update that. That has not been updated since the occupancy tax first passed. So I think that's an important distinction along with our scoring sheet, which the scoring sheet is part of the law. And that application will need to come back before this committee to be officially approved since it was passed by resolution. But I think that as you send this out, Chairman Garrity, we've talked a little bit about that calendar Supervisor Wild brought up.
Yeah.
Maybe the applications we already have in, we could put out on a calendar so we could see those current ones. And to Supervisor Hogan's point, I think she's correct. We can't make assumptions of who will be paid what without applications and complete ones being submitted and provided. And I would go as far to say you might want to, consider the whole board, seeing as this OCC tax, if people want it, but at least to the committee members. My last concern with this is just it's twofold. One, the meeting calendar, Amanda is working really hard to try to stick to that. So if these special meetings, as they get called, if we could please be mindful of when we have meetings already scheduled to try to keep consistent with that, particularly in view of some of the conversations we've had today about wanting to be efficient. But I really want everyone to welcome Kristen to our county and to our team. She's here. Many of you have worked with her before, but your suggestions that you have for the scoring sheets, things like that. I mean, Kristen, I know she's working on these issues with Chairman Garrity, and I really appreciate it, and am grateful she can hit the ground running. I did ask Kevin, though, Chairman Garrity a while back about the Winterfest funding that was returned to us. And I thought we came up with an idea to ask the committee about utilizing those unspent funds for new seed events, ones that have never been done before, that are looking to grow ground up, like Letizza's Festival of Lights from last year, or some other things that were very minor cost-wise, but impactful in the community, and giving everyone an opportunity to fill out those occupancy tax applications. I know we put it on the treasurer's website. I think it is now on our regular website, but maybe John could work with us to do a press advisory. But is it possible to take that return of the Winterfest money and use it as new?
I don't know if we've gotten it, but
Oh, okay.
That money has not been returned yet, and neither have I received all the documents to pay the 40,000 voucher for the Winterfest. The treasurer made the decision not to net the two, but to pay the voucher and then get the money back. It's apparently easier for him from an accounting standpoint. So neither have I gotten all the invoices in order to pay the 40,000, and we have not gotten the money back.
Okay, so perhaps Chairman Garrity, that's something you could reach out to Mr. Dutcher and the Winterfest team.
I've seen emails from Christian. He's working on it.
Okay.
But it's an in and out,
Okay.
and I guess we couldn't do it because we had to pay them
Right.
first and then they're going to return the money.
Okay.
Uh,
Well,
it's,
just for consideration for your future meetings, maybe we could talk about that new event, countywide event.
Perhaps
Um,
we'll also, I'll ask the tourism department to reach out to the major events and see if they couldn't speed up their applications.
Or to anyone that's.
If
you
they
know.
plan on, well, at least the ones that the committee has funded every year. You know, like Americade, Garage Sale, Balloon Fest, Wine Fest is gone. So that money, you know, we're not give them any money. So we'll try to do a better accounting before. And in 2 weeks, Amanda, I'm fine as long as you can make it align. I mean, I would like to do it at least by mid-May if we can, you know, whatever. And it will be a workshop. We'll sit around, we'll hand out the applications like we used to, and then we'll score them.
Kevin?
Yes.
I just got one more comment. On the village thing of the fireworks, I would love to see all the towns donate to that fireworks, even $500 or $1,000. We all benefit from them. Those fireworks brings a lot of people in, helps the business people, helps the hotels, helps the tax, sales tax. So, you know, instead of taking it right out of here, all of it, maybe we can help the mayor. I know he's in trouble with money, but maybe just an idea. You know, I'm not saying you got to do it, but if you have it, let's send them $500 or $1,000 out of all the town's taxes to help this fireworks because it helps all of us.
Supervisor Hogan?
Thank you. I'm really uncomfortable with soliciting applications from specific places without also putting on a good public information push saying that we are receiving applications in case there are new events out there that would like to be funded. So I encourage you to work with Don to put out some sort of press release that we are accepting applications.
Yeah, I'm going to have the tourism department. They'll take care of it. So the only other thing I will mention is we've been looking into a lot of short-term rental information, the short-term rental funds that have been left on the table. We haven't collected here since 2018. I would ask each town supervisor, you could help us by letting your short-term rental people, whether you have a formal law or informal law, you could ask your towns to remind them that they need to start registering with the treasurer. I know he sent out information and he has a lot of listings, but we were still shy quite a few people registering here with the county. So we need to work on that. The other thing is, one of the latest reports we saw, we left $1 million out there. And when you do the math, it works out to be, it's a pretty accurate report. So that's $1 million in oxy tax funds that should have been returned to Warren County. So it's very important. I know we've filled that position today, or we at least gave him permission to fill the position. But there is a lot of funding out there that would help, would allow us to give more money out to events. So yes, Supervisor Hogan.
Thank you. It's my understanding that the treasurer has a comprehensive list of the short-term rentals that he has referenced he would be sharing with the towns in the future. For those of us who have not engaged with a company that's given us addresses, that list would be very helpful, and we'd be more than happy to assist with the communication with the short-term rentals, given that information.
Yeah, I still think that based on what he thought the applications would be, we're still lacking like 250, 260 people registering with him.
That's fine, but we can start the process with,
Well,
if he gives us his list.
we'll pass that along to the treasurer.
Thank you.
Supervisor Bramer.
I would like to echo what Supervisor Hogan said about getting the list out to the municipalities so that they can start weeding through that and help with the process of identifying those properties. The other thing I know is that I think Glens Falls is looking at the short-term rental situation, and I know that Queensbury is about to. And I would ask, if possible, since we don't have the person in the treasurer's office, that maybe Kristen can attend that meeting at Queensbury next week. They're having a company come in and do a presentation about that. And I think it would be useful to have the county aware of what's going on at that level.
I think if Supervisor Stroud wants attendee, I'm certainly will try to make it available. Any comments, Supervisor Stroud?
He's gone.
He's gone. Okay. Anybody else? Any comments? So we'll come back in 2 weeks when Amanda can set a date, and we'll get out information. There's a lot more information to get out to you, and anybody who didn't receive it, please let us know, and I'll work through the tourism department. Anything else? Motion to adjourn, Supervisor Molino, second by Supervisor Wild. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yep.